It starts like any drive. Familiar road, familiar view. In a land that defies ordinary, so does the drive.
Okay everyone, for homework tonight, we're going to dream about what the future looks like.
Dreams can come true. The all-new, fully electric Honda EN1 is here.
Welcome to Tarmac Life. We're here for the fun toys, cars, SUVs, utes, flights, hotels, because the journey matters too, and even the odd motorbike when we feel like living dangerously. Epic drives and unforgettable experiences, all served up with plenty of banter and zero boring nonsense.
On tonight's show, Audi proved that unicorns do in fact come in green. We review the new RS3. Dave takes a trip to my other childhood home. He's in India with Mahindra at their proving grounds. Our resident geek discovers that Skoda have gone from clever to smart. And then we have BYD's new super hybrid ute. We review the Shark 6.
Sure, and thanks for joining us. Again, wow, what amazing feedback we've had on the show so far. And one of the big things you've highlighted is actually you're now talking about segments that we should add. It's coming up with a variety of suggestions and really keep them coming.
Okay, hear me out. I got a great suggestion. We should just get first-class flights to Germany, stay in 5-star hotels, and just get some great flash cars and race them around the Nürburgring.
Genius. It's genius.
All right, that sounds great, but why don't we start with baby steps first? Why don't we start with bringing the Nürburgring to us? Because first up, it's one of the record holders, Audi's new RS3. The Audi A3 has been going since 1996 or around about then, but it wasn't until 2011 or 12 when the first generation RS3 came along. And at that time, this is now 12 or 13 years ago, you had a choice of 3 brightly colored 5-cylinder hot hatchbacks. But fast forward to today, only one of those brightly colored hot hatchbacks remains. With the exterior, so a couple of things that have changed includes the fascia here. So as you can see, the grille is now framed in all of these gloss black plastic pieces. And the thing that's really different is that Audi badge there, which rather than being 4 distinctive chrome rings, is now more blacked out and a lot flatter or 2D in its appearance. You can see these wheels, so these are 19-inch RS wheels in the sort of matte finish. There are 3 options and all of them are at no cost. You basically go along and pick whichever one is your favorite. So they've made sure that the wheel arches are particularly pronounced. The car looks like it sits low and planted, and it does feel like that when you're behind the wheel as well, not just from the looks. As if you needed a reminder that this is the RS, just take a look at that rear diffuser there, and of course the RS Sports exhaust, both of which hide 2 more pipes underneath, and when you have it in dynamic mode, it really does open it up and let that 5-cylinder turbo breathe. This engine is pretty special, so it's in its 2.5 liter configuration in this particular car, just like it has been with the RS3 historically. You get 294 kilowatts, 500 newton meters of torque. 0 to 100 comes up in 3.8 seconds, and the fuel efficiency is about 9.4 liters per 100 Ks. But in its defense, I have been getting something like 8.7 in my driving so far, which is not bad at all, I must say. Carbon emissions are in the early 200s, but again, with 5-cylinder cars, the less said about the carbon emissions, the better, probably. All of those things aside, it just sounds unlike anything else in its category, unlike anything else on the road. And what Audi have done, the magic that they've played into the new RS torque splitter, means that this thing is, at the moment, the compact performance car record holder around the Nürburgring. So it is seriously capable, even though they haven't actually upped the performance from this generation when it first came out.
And as you jump inside of the RS3, some of the things that you might see here are very A3-like, but if you start looking around very clearly, it becomes not only an S, but also an RS product. For starters, as I usually talk about, are the amazing seats. They are wing back, they have the RS logo embossed to them, and they have this motif that goes all around both the seat and the backrest. So the screen that you have here for the center console will of course centralize many of the things that you have to do with the media and what you want to customize for your driving experience. This being an RS car, of course we will focus on the ones that have to do a little bit more with the performance driving. So if we go to car settings, then this is where you will see two of the things that are really tailored for the RS experience while you're driving. The first one, in the Audi Drive Select, will allow you to go through the drive modes that you can also use the toggle down here to select. If we go back and then talk about the RS Monitor, this is where you can see a real-time reading about key parts of the engine. You can talk about your coolant, your oil temperature, water temperature, and also, of course, how the torque splitter is doing all of its work back, because this is one of the parts of the trickery that Audi has introduced to the new RS3. And then we must cover the instrument cluster that you have in front of the driver, because the Audi Virtual Cockpit is actually larger than the screen that you have here in the center. Then a big change happens when you do with these two buttons that we have here. They're completely new and they are something that is specific to the RS products. The one on the left, if you press it, it will bring your RS Performance driving mode, which can be customized for something a little bit more performance orientated and a little bit more sort of a balls to the wall kind of driving. The one on the right will then be your RS Individual. And it is here much of the same, but of course it allows you to have two customized buttons that you can, at a click of one single button, enjoy all that 5-cylinder sound and all the things that the RS3 can do for you.
The RS3 is one of the last select few hot hatchbacks. In fact, I'd probably say it's more like a hyper hatchback with the kind of power it's putting out right now. But still, the crux of this kind of car is, does it mix practicality with performance? It's not just the straight line power where the RS3 really wins, it's in the corners, because the way it just stays planted, it's so hard to unsettle this car and to make yourself as a driver feel scared, and to make the car feel scared as well, because it's just so planted. That also does mean that you can turn it into dynamic, basically plant your foot on the brake and then load it up a little bit, and
the sound, man. The sound definitely is the best part of this whole experience, because we can get similar levels of performance from the competitors, but they are mostly using 4-cylinder turbocharged engines, right? The moment you have this one extra piston, it's crazy what it does for the sound. It becomes this warmer tone that fills the cabin and just harks back to the cars that you would see sideways on the gravel with the Sport Quattro and all the cars that really made the Quattro name so famous and such a staple of Audi's history.
Wow, that looked amazing. I'm so jealous. But the big question I've got to ask is, isn't it just a glorified Golf R?
Oh yeah, that's a heavy one. They are definitely cousins. They're very similar to one another, and I would say probably that the Golf R is closer to what the S3 is, because the RS is just on an upper echelon, right?
I think the bigger question here is not whether it has sort of competitors, it's whether that 5-cylinder engine is worth the price premium. Anyway, I'll let you argue that at home. After the break, Dave, well, he's going to spice up his life with a trip to Mahindra's proving grounds in India.
Choose what brings you joy. Choose adventure. Choose something extra.
choose to live large, even when driving small. Choose to roar. Choose to lead the charge by going electric, or the best of both worlds with a plug-in hybrid. Choose to connect while disconnecting with the world around you. Life's a joy when you live it on your own terms. What will you choose? The BMW X Range.
Discover a new kind of space with the all-new Škoda Kodiaq.
Škoda. Here I am in India, that's right, India, at the Mahindra SUV Proving Grounds. It is massive. It's 400 acres of, I don't know, a torture chamber for SUVs. There's an off-road track that is just, honestly, it really punishes SUVs. And then there's also just so much track life of a high-speed track where you can go up to 180, 200 kilometers per hour. There is a handling area, there's all different road surfaces, there's a wet track, there's dry places, there's just gradients, there's all these just multiple ways to put an SUV through its tracks, and boy, they have. Described as a driver's paradise, designed to shape powerful and desirable machines, the Mahindra Proving Track has 20 purpose-built tracks which are now fully operational. These include 0% slope, high-speed test tracks with 43.7 degree parabolic banking for higher neutral speed testing. In addition to that, it has an arrow straight 2 kilometer, 11 meter wide road with a 0% longitudinal slope that is built for performance and coast down measurements. The circular dynamic platform that spans 250 meters in diameter is meant for vehicle dynamics development and evaluation. But let's face it, what goes fast needs to stop too. So there's a braking pad with 6 different surfaces and dry and wet tracks that are built to test ABS, ESP and TCS. A general highway durability track and a simulated city track are also built for simulating public road durability. An accelerated test track which has all imaginable bad road surfaces including potholes, undulation, Belgian pavement, cobblestones, rumblers and various kinds of washboard and speed breakers are also factors into it. The world out there is unpredictable with storms and floods, so the MSPT can simulate rainwater, wading and water splash. It can even simulate dust storms in a chamber. There's also a 4x4 customer experience zone. It's a specific off-road track that has been built at the MSPT to help enthusiasts and experts gain experience of off-road adventures and terrains. This exclusive facility has multiple off-road setups, like up and down slopes with 7, 11, 18 and 35 degree inclines. You can drive through forests and woods, riverbeds up to 1.2 meters deep with mud, slush, sand and rock beds. There's a seesaw wooden bridge over a river pass. There's hard and soft articulation, wood logs, railway slippers and a dead drop. It's mainly built for Mahindra's skinnier Thar product, but we punished the Scorpion through it and it did come away with a few scratches and scrapes. What a day. So like I said, we've been off-road, we've been on-road, we've been absolutely putting these vehicles through which, I know, tasks and things that I don't think I've ever done in New Zealand or is even the opportunity to do in New Zealand. And these vehicles, actually particularly the Scorpio, has just lived up to its name, is just done so well. It's off-road is just phenomenal, and also I think the highlight of the day for me was going along the outer ring of the test track in the top level, 180 kilometers per hour. Honestly, I've never done it before, and it's such an absolute thrill.
I mean, wow, I've got to say that they really do punish those cars, and I've only ever seen photos and videos of Proving Ground, so I mean, what was that like?
It was an amazing experience. I mean, Mahindra really do test their vehicles so well, and I have to say that the biggest fun was trying to go into a high-speed ring, the top part right up there, just without easing off of the accelerator, trying to go. It was just crazy. Both, honestly, I needed a day at the bathroom afterwards.
This week's Tarmac Torque is, weirdly enough, again driven by the input that we got from you, the viewer. And this is all due to the response that we got on the last video about the Škoda Kodiaq, and more importantly, about the mentality that Škoda have about the simply clever. That mentality has now evolved to be simply smart, and while it represents a little bit of a change, it is still very much Škoda. So have a look at what it means straight from them.
It's really impressive how Škoda have evolved their Simply Clever to Simply Smart. It really does encapsulate the whole family, and every situation. It really is quite clever. Simply clever, really.
That's right, yeah. It's their way to keep everything modern while still evolving the brand a little bit, but not losing what they always stood for. Really, really cool.
Next up, we dive into a new plug-in hybrid ute that's making waves. It's the BYD Shark 6. That's on after the break.
This is missing something. Take Norfolk's finest engineers, mix them with a pile of carbon fiber and a sprinkle of British arrogance, and you got yourself a Lotus. The car is so well balanced it hugs the road tighter than an influencer to endorsement deals. The stance, epic. The experience, impossibly pure. What you get? A sports car that screams of culture. I send it. What is it missing? You. It's missing you. Because these cars are made for drivers. This brand, born out of sheer audacity, fueled by a man who said light is right. His name, Colin Chapman. His belief, racing cars really only need one thing, a lot less. And that has been our spirit ever since. Now are you a driver or what?
It starts like any drive. Familiar road, familiar view. In a land that defies ordinary, so does the drive.
What you're talking about is BYD has gone from virtually nowhere in our sort of local neck of the woods to become a very, well, and one of the number one sort of turnover brands in New Zealand, particularly in the EV market. Now they're fishing in the ute market, and this is what the BYD Shark is all about. Looking around the front here, it makes a very bold statement with the BYD branding across the front. It is a very sort of Chinese thing to make sure you know which brand it is, and it does distinguish from the other brands that are in the marketplace. Something of particular note, and if you're going to use anything, the shark fin antenna up here, which is great, so perfect use of that there. And also, as you start to move down the back here, you have all your cargo load, which is around about 750 kilograms of weight there. You can actually put a payload in there, sizable. And actually, I don't know if you can still see me now because it's so far back here. And also, when it comes to towing, it'll only tow around about 2.5 tons. So if you do have a bigger boat, you probably won't, this is probably not the one for you. The other thing, most of the weight is actually underneath here, so it's very low to the ground because the battery is all into the ladder frame chassis down there. So sizable weight, but also quite low down, so very good. Now BYD are calling this Shark a super hybrid, and what that gives you is a 1.5 litre petrol engine and 2 electric motors, one on each axle. So there is quite a substantial amount of power and torque going through. In fact, 321 kilowatts of power and 650 newton meters of torque. I mean, that's the same sort of size as a 4-litre V8, so it is quite substantial. 0 to 100 is in 5.7 seconds, so it does feel EV quick off the mark, and actually surprisingly sits very well on the road. The other thing is you can switch to EV only mode and get around about 100 kilometers of EV only range. So on the whole, it's a very smart system. And the other really good sort of pièce de la résistance is that you can charge in both AC and DC. So you can get very quick charging and make sure your battery is fully charged.
Coming back to the interior and looking at the seats, they've gone for a more premium fabric, and it's ventilated as well. To the center console, you've got a really interesting layout here. Of course, 2 grab handles for either passenger, and then a dual phone setup over there where you've got a wireless phone charger and NFC connectivity as well. The real piece that dominates the interior experience with this Shark is, of course, this 15-point-inch infotainment screen. And in typical BYD fashion, you can actually rotate it, so you can have it in a landscape or a portrait orientation. And just like you would on a smartphone, you can swipe down to have a shortcut menu there with, for example, your connectivity options there and some shortcuts to the vehicle control. The other thing is you can also activate the battery save function over here and choose what level you want to preserve the battery at. Head down to the bottom there, and if you hit the car icon, you can then go into things like the actual wireless connectivity, the ADAS, for example, adjusting that, having a look at your energy monitor in terms of setting that up and regenerating the battery, and then of course a couple of more functions to do with your vehicle. The screen in front of the driver is a rather large one as well, sitting at about 10.25 inches. Looking at the screen, on your left side you've got your battery range percentage and then your petrol range in terms of kilometers. So note how it doesn't actually show you what your EV only range is, it just shows you what your petrol range is. And then you've got a figure there that actually does show you what your combined range is. Looking at the steering wheel, well, it's got quite a unique look to it because it's a large unit and it doesn't actually have a third spoke. It's only 2 spokes and these sort of floating spoke things below. What the floating ones actually do is adjust the drive mode setting, so you can go between eco, normal or sport. And then on the right hand side you can adjust the terrain mode, so you can go between mud, sand, snow or mountains. So 4 different options there, and with each one that you change, it automatically adjusts the background. So now that I'm in mud, it looks more like a sort of salt flat desert kind of place.
The big thing obviously is the fact that it's a plug-in hybrid, and what that means is you can put it into sport and just take off like this. I mean, this is not your normal ute that just sort of, I don't know, rattles around and just messes around. This gets off the mark very quickly and also very silently. So the other good thing is if you're working downtown or something like that and you need to get around or get away really quietly at night, this is your option. 800 kilometers of anticipated range is phenomenal. That just gets rid of any of this sort of range anxiety stuff that EVs that go on. It really does sit into that diesel territory, which is not bad for something that weighs almost 3 tons. Is getting up there in heftiness.
And hefty it is indeed, not just in terms of its weight, but in terms of its dimensions as well. It's quite as Dave pointed out, not just long, but tall as well. It's has a real presence about it as a truck.
But oddly, when you're driving it, it doesn't feel that way.
It's quiet and refined. Suspension setup is quite good too. My one remark though is the steering ratio is really slow, so you do find yourself having to turn quite a bit and almost steer the ship if you like. But at the same time, it does that duality really well in terms of having off-road functionality, settings, all of these different things.
As far as layout goes, I'm really impressed with the fit and finish of it. I really very much think it's up there, probably surprisingly up there. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but it's just very well put together. I think they've got some work to do as far as the benchmark, as far as the Ranger goes. But for their first sort of foray into ute market, I think it's amazing. Actually, it's a really good compromise in terms of branching your sort of your leisure life or your normal family life in with something that will shift stuff around at the weekend, and you can it will do most things, which is really good. And that range is just, like I said, substantial.
Okay, that was really good, but I think that only time will tell the answer to the actual big question, which is how well can it cope with the hard yards of the ute work?
I mean, the three of us, we all live in a big city, right? So look out there and how many utes do you see stuck in traffic? So why not make one that's actually better suited to life on the tarmac rather than life on the dirt?
Either way, the Shark is something quite different. Gotta love those dad jokes. So we've had fun in the RS3. We've been in India on the proving grounds, and also Škoda has taught us how to live our lives just that little bit cleverer. I've just got to work out what cleverer actually means. Join us next week when we'll be having even smarter stuff and sharper stuff and just having more fun. Join us then. And the thing that actually is...
This is going to be a long night.
Yes, it is. I told you. It was a good... I completely screwed it up. So we've been on the isn't it just a glorified Golf R?
Oh,
I said Škoda.
That was a GTI R or S3.
What was it, Leffert?
RS3.
Oh, it was an RS3. Okay.
You said anyway times?
Did I?
Yeah.
I like to say anyway.
Anyway.
Shark 6 is actually something quite different. Dad joke there. Anyway.
Otherwise, it just becomes
over and over again. Hey, everyone, I'm Indian. Are there any other like aquatic puns?
No, that's enough.
Okay, 3 is enough. All right.
It's not bad at all.
Yeah.
More suited to life on the tarmac.
What? We're talking about a different Chinese car. Not you.
Choose what brings you joy. Choose adventure. Choose something extra. Choose to live large, even when driving small. Choose to roar. Choose to lead the charge by going electric, or the best of both worlds with a plug-in hybrid. Choose to connect while disconnecting with the world around you. Life's a joy when you live it on your own terms. What will you choose? The BMW X Range.
Okay, everyone, for homework tonight, we're going to dream about what the future looks like.
can come true. The all-new fully electric Honda EN1 is here.